Hi everybody, it's David Fleming here from the Toronto Realty Group, and welcome back to this week's Pick 5. Now, everywhere you look in the media right now, we are seeing articles about the condo market. Over and over, the condo market. No, it's not very good. New sales are even worse, but I'm so tired of hearing about the condo market. Today, guys, I want to take you into an area that is absolutely saturated with condos, where all the conversations are going on about condos, and I want to look at houses. We're going to go downtown. Now, downtown, to my friend Oren, who lives in Thornhill, is where I live, which is actually Midtown. He's like, well, you guys live downtown. No. We live in the city. You guys live out of the city. What would you consider to be downtown? Now, let's go to my map here. And I've taken C1 and C8. So obviously south of Bloor, and you can see C1. And then over here, which is C8. So what's considered downtown? This to me in Trinity Bellwoods, well, this isn't really downtown. I want to look in areas like this. And I want to see what's available actually downtown. So let's start in and around here, guys. This looks like a good one, and I actually didn't pick the 5 today. We're going to pick them together. So this is 9 Trefann Street. As you can see, Trefann Court, thank you, Google. It's at Queen and Parliament, so it's a bit of a mixed bag here. There were times when this area was a little bit rougher than it is now. This is, of course, very close to certain newer areas that have been built up significantly. You're close to Corktown Commons. You're close to the Distillery District. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see, right? Distillery here, Corktown here, West Donlands. Now, what are you getting for $950,000 for a house that's been on the market for 24 days? Well, the first thing you're getting, see this right here, is an 1875 built house. Now, as beautiful as that is, it's going to come with problems. I mean, any house is going to come with problems. My wife asked me the other day after our air conditioner stopped working, do you think the builder cut corners on this house? I said, no, honey, this house was built in 2017 and it's a house. Houses fail. That's just what they do. It's not about cutting corners. It's about the air conditioner that was probably made in China in 2012 and then was stored in a warehouse somewhere and was installed in ours in 2017. Some component of that may not be working. Now, excuse the tangent here, but for a house that was built in 1875, I think you're going to have issues. For someone to buy this house and move into it and think everything's going to be fine, well, that might be a little bit naive. Now, the first thing I look at with a house that's downtown is here. It's a row house. And in 1875, that's absolutely how they built them. Second thing I see here is a 2.5 story. We want to know if that half story is actually going to be useful. How wide is the property? 14.5. How deep? 70. 2 beds plus 1 in the basement, 2 bath, and it looks like you do have parking here. So there's only 15 photos, which to me might be a bit of a red flag, or it's just like, hey, we've made our mark. We only need 15 photos to drive this home. So on the inside, if you're like me, you're saying, why is this only $950,000? Well, okay, so they virtually staged it. I don't love that. If the day ever comes when I'm virtually staging, something's wrong. I believe in the power of staging. So as you can see inside, whether it's the floor here is a bit dated, the black countertop, for a house that's built in 1875 to complain that the kitchen's 20 years old, well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? This definitely is dated. These big tubs no one uses, the black tile. But again, I will remind you, this is a home downtown in the city of Toronto, priced at $950,000. There's your half story up top. So we'll get to the floor plan if they have it. That's pretty nice. Again, virtually staged, probably doesn't look like that. Now the new rules do specify, I believe, that if you're going to show a room that's virtually staged, you have to show it unstaged as well. Who wants to narc on this one? Okay, so there you go. Backyard. Got a little barbecue. Yeah, so there you go, virtually staged. Okay, so they've done the right job here, just with those other ones they haven't. So they're kind of halfway there. Now, important to note, guys, see this here? That's your garage door. So this is either your backyard or it's your parking space. So 950 hasn't sold. Yeah, there's a pretty good indication there, right? You got the little bump out on the back. So 950 hasn't sold. Why? Well, it could be any number of things. It's an 1875 built house. It's not the prettiest. The area is a little bit, well, I don't know how you describe it, transitioning, let's say. But for $950,000, think about what would you get in a condo for $950,000. This is a freehold. This is great space. So I mentioned, right, I wanted to look at the floor plan. Living, dining, kitchen on the main. There's a bedroom on the second and then a bedroom on the third. So that's that really cool bedroom that we saw up top. However, you've got a 3-piece bath in the basement and a 4-piece on the second. So if your primary bedroom, and they haven't said which one is primary, but if your primary bedroom is on the third floor, and you don't have a bathroom up there, then, you know, how functional is it? So downstairs, we saw that massive bedroom. That would be kind of like a, I don't know, I guess a recreation room in my opinion. And then you've got utility and laundry. Now let's see, when was the last time this bad boy was up for sale? Well, it looks like it's been listed for lease for quite some time. Maybe a long-term investment property. But yeah, they've owned it for quite some time. So 2011 paid $412,000. 2011, $412,000. I mean, that was 14 years. 14 years ago. So they're looking for a double up in price. So sitting in the market for 24 days. I like that one. I think there's value there. You could definitely get that for under list. Let's take a look over there. No, I don't love that one on Raffix Lane. Ooh, okay. Let's take a look at this. So again, this is, I want to say a mixed bag of an area. You're going to look at this and say, okay, seriously though, David, you're at Sherbourne Street and Shooter. You're at Sherbourne and Dundas. I don't want to be around there. There's some riffraff, so to speak. But that's why this house here on Milan is listed for $999,000, 30 days in the market and hasn't moved. I mean, maybe that's why. Maybe it's the house itself. This was built in 1980, but for $999,000 to live in the heart of downtown Toronto, I mean, this seems like a pretty good deal. Does it not? 1980 built. It's a semi-detached. It's got parking. It's got a built-in garage. It's just the location, guys. So, you know, people always make the comparison to New York. And then people that really like New York or from New York laugh when we make the comparison. I don't know. Is this Soho? Is this Boho? Is this, I'm trying to think of Seinfeld. That's my frame of reference. Upper West Side, Upper East Side. Toronto's downtown core has some really great little pockets. I would say that, you know, Regent Park probably isn't at the top of the list. Sherbourne and Shooter is a pretty rough location, but this is only $999,000. I actually had a client, I can't remember what street they were on, Pembroke. It was pretty dicey in and around there. They live there. They've been there for 8 years. They've got 2 kids. They absolutely love it. They don't mind it at all. So who are we to judge, or in this case, me, because I'm having a one-way conversation, for what it's worth. But I'm going based on a lot of the feedback. And I'm going based on, I wouldn't say the stereotypes, but I'd say the ideas that exist. I mean, you take a look at this here, a photo that shows trees, that shows a street, that shows a red brick home, and you think you're right in the heart of downtown Toronto and you've got a park next door. All of a sudden, what, David, why are you saying that we shouldn't consider living there? Well, yeah, I mean, let's look at the map, guys. I mean, you were right in the heart of, right, Sherbourne and Dundas. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know. Right on the corner right there. You drive by there, and it's a scene, man. And then over here, you have this absolutely beautiful house. So, you know, there's a few shelters, as I mentioned. Seton House, for example. My wife is a social worker. She used to do an overnight at, I can't remember, Mainstay Housing, Elisa House, something like that. Or maybe it was one of the ones on Seton. But you got to consider that location. And the same is to be said as we move over to the west side. Take a look at another couple of houses. We'll take a look here, 690 Adelaide. So this one, guys, is a Victorian. You can check this out. Okay, it says approximate age 100 plus years. I would guess that this is late 1890s. This is on the market for 30 days. It is a row house. It's only 12 and a half feet wide. That's narrow. 91, 3-bed, 1-bath. The basement's a crawl space / unfinished, and it's got no parking. So right off the bat, some of you were like, wow, boom, boom, boom. You just hit me with a ton of things that I don't like. But how can you not like the front of this home? It's absolutely gorgeous. So this could not be more downtown, more King West, in an area that's saturated with condos and nightlife and restaurants. And you assume anyone that lives down there, they've got a 1-bed, 1-bath. Oh no, I've actually got an old Victorian home and it's sub $1 million. So you can see from the high ceilings, old radiators, a lot of original character and charm in this house. And then you get into, you know, the kitchen. And that's where, you know, some of you are like, well, maybe I end up with a condo town, or maybe I get like a sick loft or something for around the same price, because this kitchen's not a lot to write home about. That is the fridge. That is the stove that is right next to the door. I'm guessing that when this was built in the 1870s, they have fridges. They used to have like a cupboard and then a ridiculously large block of ice that was underneath it, and it would just slowly melt, and that's how they cooled food. Every time I watch shows that take place in the 1800s, my wife is just like, I couldn't do it. I absolutely couldn't do it. And she makes comments like, how often do you think they brush their teeth? Honey, I'm not going to lie. I don't think they did that back then. So, yeah, a little bit dated. Living dining's nice. And I feel like some of you might be like, okay, great. Thanks for the pick 5 on downtown houses. I want a condo. But trying to give you an idea of what exists. And again, we're only looking under $1 million right now. So there certainly are some better properties out there. But for those of you that are on a budget, or for those of you that want to know what's under $1 million, I think this is a pretty insightful little video. Now, as I mentioned, crawl space and unfinished. They put both there. There is a crawl space and there's a section that is unfinished. So not to say that it is an unfinished crawl space. Is that an oxymoron? No, that's like a double up there. Unfinished crawl space. So then you can see the backyard here. There's no parking. So something to be desired. But realistically, great photo there. Your fern. Is that Insel brick? Oh boy. Yeah, some work to be done. But I just want to go back to, right, that's it for me. That does it for me. That's $1 million right there. It's a red brick Victorian. That's all that really matters to me. It's in the heart of downtown. There's your floor plans. And that's what? $999. 30 days on the market. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. We're going through pretty quickly here. I thought there was one on Percy Street. Was this it here? Yes, I knew it. I went to the West End, but I wanted to show you this one. Okay, so I really like these. I've got a client that bought, gosh, I'm so bad. I can't remember if it's on Percy Street or if it's the next one, but I want to go to the map here. Bear with me, guys. So here we are. This is King Street and this is Sumac. So you might know there's a condo here, 52 Sumac. There's 549, 569, and 510 King. All those condos look about the same. They are boutique buildings, about 6-7 stories. And you've got impact kitchens. You've got the CrossFit studio. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. And then you've got this little street here that you would probably not know is even there. This is Percy Street. This is one of, in my opinion, the best kept gems in the city. So see, I'm gonna go this way, guys. You're getting a little bit dizzy. I'm gonna go out here to King Street. Thank you, Google Maps. And you've got these townhouses that are kind of ugly here. And then here's your, right, King building. This is the one I mentioned. I think this is 549 King. And then you've got these little coach houses here. But would you know that down this laneway, where you have these really awesome townhouses that are part of the condominium complex, you also have these original little cottages. Now, this might look a little bit rough. This one certainly does rough, but I had a client that purchased a house down towards the end in here, and same situation, was looking for a condo, started to look at a townhouse, and then said, hold on a second, I can get a freehold, and not to mention a beautiful century-old home for under $900,000. And that is exactly what this one is here at 7 Percy Street. This is $879, 3 days in the market. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath. Basement doesn't exist. There's a crawl space. My client did have a basement though, and there's no parking. So for a condo alternative, look how beautiful this is. And then on the inside, you tell me if this is enough space. Living, dining, you've got your air conditioner there. As you can see, you've got to walk out to a deck. So just consider where the condo market is. For $879, what have we got on the market? We just sold 197 Yonge Street. It was a 2+ den sort of situation, beautiful view, right? Or you could have this, to each their own. We just sold a place on Erskine. Well, that was over $1 million. That was $1,050,000. Beautiful condo, fantastic view, great layout, 1,100 square feet. Or here you are for $879,000. Of course, this is downtown. So I'm kind of making the argument that this is a really good deal and it's a really good spot. It's nicely renovated. You know, this might be a bit of a Home Depot special. But not everyone downtown has to live in a condo, and you can do a lot with this if you've got a green thumb. We actually have a listing coming out where we've got to do a ton of yard work, and we're like getting quotes, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. And Chris is like, this is that situation that you've told me to tell you about when you're a real estate agent and you want to go and start clear cutting trees. And I'm like, but I could do it though. He's like, or you could have somebody else do it and spend time with your family. I wonder if over the long weekend I'm going to end up taking my saw over there. Okay, so I think this house could use a little bit of work in that backyard. Let's scroll down here. Check this out. Owner's parked in the street for almost 60 years that he has owned the property. And Geo Warehouse states licensed or on street parking. This is a private street. So a couple things. Number one, there's no offer date. This is really $879. Number two, a guy's lived here for 60 years. And he's parked on the street for 60 years. So let's see, he moved in when he was 20 and he's 80. Mind blown right off the bat. One of the coolest listings that's out there at the moment. But it is a private street. And so I believe they have a deal with the condominium corporation there in terms of snow removal and then garbage removal. But it is a private street. It is not a city-owned street. It is so incredibly cool. And this was built in, check this out, 1890. So what are we up to now? That's four. I gotta finish on a high note here, guys. What do you want to see? Let's go into King West. I think there's this one here. Ooh la la. Oh no, vacant land. Oh, this is neat. I'm just going to show this to you. Okay, see this right here. Oh man. Yeah, this is what they're selling. Yeah. All right, we're selling the dream. We are selling the dream. What does it actually look like? It's a garage. See this? Yeah, we're selling our garage, guys. We're doing it. This This is the next blog TO article. Someone sells garage for $899,000. This is a 17 by 61 foot piece of land. Oh, it's listed by a Bosley agent, so I got to be polite about it. But $899, 17 by 61. I wonder if you could actually build that. That would be really neat. Okay, so that was that. Where were we here? We saw Adelaide, and we're over here now. Let's take a look at this one. Let's take a look at 130 Manning. So again, we're not really downtown now. Of course, we are in prime Trinity Bellwoods. Does this have an offer date? I'm going to bet that it does. Yeah. Offers reviewed June 26th at 6 o'clock p.m. So let's take a look at this one. I never love when they do the two photos like this. I'd rather see one photo out front. But this is a really cool house. And so this probably won't stick under $1 million. But, you know, for pick 5, I did give you 5.5 because of that vacant piece of land. So again, this looks like a late, I'd say early 1900s house. Victoria, Second Empire, Victorian. What would this be? What would this be? Look at the original. This is all original hardware here. This is really cool. And it's a beautiful street, as we know. Inside, you're going to say, oh, I came from a condo. I want to take down the interior freestanding walls. Okay, this house needs a little bit of work. I would have got rid of all the furniture here. But for the street, I think the price is justified. Even a house like this that would need a ton of work is still worth $1 million just based on that street. So, yeah, definitely need some wall removal. You know, kitchen's a good size, but you can see cabinets don't have any doors on them. This has definitely been painted 3 or 4 times. You can see the space in between here. See the angle? It means there's some lean to the floor. Maybe there's some lean to the fridge. I don't know. But this is sub $1 million. And just because they have an offer date doesn't mean they're going to get above that. And upstairs, you can see it's, again, pretty rough, right? These are original pine floors, been painted 1 million times. If you've seen this layout once, you've seen it 1 million times. I think I just said that. Pine floor again. That's really neat. I want to check the listing history of this one. So again, this isn't really what I would call, I mean, my friend Oren would call it downtown because he says I live downtown. But downtown, I think, like, show me houses that are a block from 10 different condos. And I can't make the New York comparison because their city was built very differently. And they're, of course, downtown. Well, Manhattan is all downtown, right? Oh, boy, New York, New York. I've been there, what, 3 times? I was a guy that had never been to New York before. I was like 35 years old. I was like, oh, New York. Is that the place you should go? Went twice with the wife, once with the kids. That was a scene. Of course they like to go to New York. All we did was buy them stuff the entire time. So $9.99, and again, let's go back to the map here. So in terms of being downtown, what would be the comparison? Okay, if you know, email me. You're the New York person. Tell me. Trinity Bellwoods, what is the equivalent in Manhattan, in New York specifically? Upper West Side, Upper East Side, Central Park, right? We're trying to find... And there's one over here that I didn't really want to do, St. Patrick's Square. I saw that earlier. Trying to find 5 houses, what we would consider quote unquote downtown. And while this one maybe, you know, north of Queen, sure. I think for the most part, giving you a pretty good indication. This one here on Trefann, beautiful, absolutely downtown. It's just, where is that located? Milan, not the best area, but phenomenal house. 30 is in the market for $9.99. We had the one over here on Percy, which I absolutely love. Oh, this is the one I wanted to do before I went off and showed you that one on Trinity Bellwoods. Okay, guys, it's pick 6.5. So check this out. First of all, I want to go to the photo, and then I'm going to come back. This is where we just were, going to Percy Street. This is literally for sale right out front. Now, this is cool. I almost have half a mind to edit that out, but I don't want to. So here we go. 1890 built. It's got no parking. It's a crawl space. It's a 1-bedroom house plus 1. Well, if the basement has a crawl space, what's the plus 1? We'll come back to that. It's a row. It's 13 feet. This one's really pretty. So I love the look from the outside. It looks very similar to the one on Percy. Very cool. But again, fronting on King. And on the inside, hey, I like it. All right, we got a big couch. We got a TV. I'm pretty downtown. I can see a homeless guy peeing on the sidewalk outside. No, we wouldn't do that. Yes, we would. That's Toronto. But this one's pretty nicely done on the inside. Maybe I'm just looking at their teak furniture and their feature wall. But would you rather own this for $879 or $874, whatever it is, or would you rather own a condo? This is on King. I lived at King. I lived at 230 King. I had a condo on King. This person has a house on King. That's what we're talking about today. So I just think there's so many opportunities, and you might not love this. You're like, oh, I got a washer dryer. It's in my kitchen. It might surprise you to know in 1890 they did not have washer dryers. So, I mean, black granite countertops, sure, no problem. Standard white appliances, okay. Oh my God, that reminds me of the backsplash I put in my condo in 2011. Yeah. Yeah, styles change. Yeah, I could have gone with something different for sure, absolutely. You know what? And the tile I put in the shower, oh man, we redid the shower before we sold in, God, I want to say 2017. I chose a pretty funky shower tile too. That had to go. So here we go. We'll go upstairs. Original pine steps. Where's the +1? Maybe that's it right there. That's probably the +1. It's a closet with a chair. Okay, so it's a 1-bedroom house. So you might say, like, why am I buying a 1-bedroom house for $874,000? I had a 1-bedroom condo for $1.2 million. It was a loft. You've got an ensuite bathroom. Well, I would hope so, based on the fact that, you know, you've got 1 bedroom. And no, so that room at the front's not really a room. But let's get to the outside. Here's where the other one on Percy Street, you can see this is what you can do with it. So again, there's the condos that are behind us, the 549 King Street. So here we go. Yeah, you're looking at a condo, but you're downtown. So the one we saw on Percy Street, I said it needs a bit of TLC. This is actually a smaller backyard, but it just happens to be a little bit nicer done. That, you know, smoothed out the concrete. They've put a barbecue, 4 chairs, and an umbrella. Here's some renderings. Ooh, the renderings. Where was this? This is the bedroom. Oh, that's the +1. Yeah, actually, this is pretty cool. This old dollhouse feature. Certainly better than that. Look, here's your floor plan that everyone does, and here's your dollhouse. I like this. Who's listing us this? This is a really good job. I'm going to secretly scroll down. Never heard of them. Okay. Great listing. 20 days in the market. 874.9. Pick 6.5 today. That was fun. So yeah, 553 King couldn't be more downtown. 2 Percy Street couldn't be more downtown. We really hit up this east side. We saw Trefann. We saw Milan. We saw Adelaide. Absolutely. We saw the half house here. That was a vacant lot on Stanley. And then, yeah, okay, I took you for a tour of Manning because I forgot that I was going to do this other one here on King. So guys, if you want to live downtown, you do not have to live in a condo. I've always said the condo townhouses bridge the gap between houses and condos. But where the market is right now, not everyone has $1 million budget, you can buy a freehold home in the heart of downtown Toronto for under $1 million. In fact, 2 of them today on Percy Street and King, as you just saw, are under 900. With the market where it is, with those sitting at 879 and 874.9, 850 grand, maybe towards 800 for a freaking freehold downtown. Absolutely phenomenal value. Anyways, guys, that is it for me for this week. Thank you so much for watching. As always, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.